Hey, friends, April here, and happy Wednesday. I'm really excited today, and we're going to be talking about foundations of online marketing. Today's webinar is brought to you by Constant Contact. My name is April Woodcock, and I'm a business partner with Constant Contact. I have actually been a partner for about 17 years, and Constant Contact is one of my favorite tools in my tool chest as a marketing agency for not only my own business, but also to help support clients. So, hey, Riley, it's good to see you, New York. You're having warm weather like me, which is great. Kind of just some housekeeping again, just to let you know, we are live streaming actually to a few different platforms. So wherever you are tuning in today, you are welcome to come back to the recording. The recording is here and will stay on the channel. And if there's any questions that you have, definitely drop them in the chat. I'm happy to answer them. And I also want to be respectful of time. So my goal is to kind of go through the presentation. I do check questions along the way. I'll try my best to answer all of them for you. And we'll kind of wrap up within 45 minutes or less. So let me share my screen here and we will get started. All right. All right. So again, friends, today we're going to be talking about foundations of online marketing. And really, it's one of those things that as business owners, there's so many different facets of elements that we're using in our tool chest. And one of the big things that we're going to talk a little bit more heavily about today is kind of local search. We're going to talk a little bit about online reviews because a lot of searches come in the local area. So if you're doing a Google search and you're looking for something, a lot of times you'll say restaurants near me or, a gym near me. And really, it's something that we use all the time. And I think sometimes we actually don't even recognize that we're doing it until we're actually more conscious of it. But local searches are done more and more, and it's definitely easier and easier for consumers to find us, what we're looking for, or other businesses to find your business to help support their needs. And 48% of small businesses who sell online generate majority of their revenue sales from online, so e-commerce tools. So, and this serves not only as local businesses, a lot of, and it's changed a lot since COVID, right? So COVID, I think, forced the hand of a lot of business owners to actually have to go ahead and create an online store to help support their business or their mission and make sure that, like, if you're a nonprofit, making sure online donations were working. But it also opened up the door as we opened up back it's like 6 years ago with COVID. And so if you sell digital products, if you offer services, if you offer coaching, if you offer products within your store, maybe you're a restaurant where you have online ordering, a lot of those sales are now come from online. And that also comes hand in hand with the use of our smartphones, right? Smartphones allow us to actually be more intuitive and increase our sales that way wherever we're reaching our audience. And the sad number is 45% of businesses still don't have websites. And website is an important part of your digital toolbox for you as a business owner. Social media is not your business, your website. So we're going to talk a little bit more about that as we go. And kind of why aren't some of the small businesses online? I definitely get some pushback on certain tools. So, I've been in business again, 19 years. And one of the things that I have done a lot of is talk to thousands of small business owners about what they do. And I think sometimes it's the unknown of technology or how it works, in that sometimes we also go by the premise that referrals are the heart of our business, which is fantastic because you want referrals in your business, but that comes with the drawback of I don't need to market. And so, I think it's eye-opening when you kind of look at these numbers here. So 40% believe digital tools are non-relevant, or they believe it's not effective. And again, it also comes down to experience. And I think sometimes we have fear in the unknown. I am really good at a lot of things in kind of the digital marketing area. But what I am very intimidated by is If you come in my office and we're talking about cameras and audio equipment, that I struggle with. So we all struggle with something, and I think it's just really opening our minds to how powerful the digital marketing tools and building that online foundation can be for you and your business. So, kind of in a roadmap, and we're going to go through this roadmap together today. Foundations of online marketing. We're going to talk a little bit about the essential elements of an effective website, because less is more, friends. We are past the days of having multiple millions of pages, it feels like, websites. We can have definitely more simpler, more effective websites. We're going to talk a little bit about online reviews and how important they are to your business, and how and make you aware of some tools that you might not be using or underutilizing for your business. We're definitely going to talk about my favorite tool, email marketing. And then we're also going to talk a little bit about social media. So let's get through. Again, my name is April Woodcock. I own a digital marketing agency called Touching Clients out here in Southeastern Connecticut. It's great to see all of my friends. We have a friend from Florida, Brooklyn. Drop a hello in the comments. I'd love to know where you're from. I have been an authorized local expert and business partner with Constant Contact for a very long time. So I will preface this where there will be an offer at the end. I'd like to let you know Constant Contact has a great free trial and an offer for you today. So just to let you know, that will come at the end. All right, so let's start talking about how people find you online. So think about it this way, and I would love for you to drop this in the chat. How do you get most of your business today? Is it walk-in traffic? Is it networking events? How are you getting your business today? Let's see. Take a drop in the chat. Hey, hello, Myra Ba. So hello from Buffalo. Hello from Connecticut to Buffalo. But let me know how you're getting your business. I think all of us, when we start looking at how we're tracking it, it's always interesting to hear how people get their business. As you're dropping in the chat, we're going to kind of talk a little bit about businesses are built on relationships. And I think, when you start a business and when you decide to become a small business owner, entrepreneur, it's about relationships, right? So there's that know, like, and trust factor. And that's something that we're always working on in our business, whether we are in person or if we are online. Our goal is about building those business relationships, right? And so what happens more now than ever is that word of mouth marketing for your business. So our goal is we're building our know, like, and trust with our business potential clients. So we're warming our cold to warm leads to customers. Our goal is to create a relationship that's going to build that brand, that word of mouth marketing, right? And so because people are so intuitive and online nowadays, so we have Google reviews, we have Bing, we have Yelp, we have social media reviews. This is where people are talking. And in most of our communities, I shouldn't say most, but in my area, there's a lot of town groups on Facebook where somebody's looking for something. They're looking for a business, they're going to post it. So your goal as a business owner, and kind of thinking about your customer journey of where they start to where they finish and where you retain them, is to be thinking about wowing them with great customer service, because you always need to be mindful that word of mouth is happening online. And most people are looking on Google. So one of the big things that you want to make sure is Google has some great free tools that you can utilize as a business owner. One is Google My Business. And that's something where, and I'll drop in the replay later at the end. I'll drop in kind of some information about Google My Business. If you haven't claimed your Google My Business, it's something to consider because it's helping build your digital footprint. But people go looking on Google, right? And now what's happening is we have Gemini in Google, which is their AI bot, which is now referring more information. So this is something as business owners, we're having to we're always having to keep up, because it is fluid in the digital marketing world. So here's some of the things they might find. If you were to Google Constant Contact Mass, so it's pretty direct Google, right? So putting in the brand name, but at the top, you would see in your search a paid ad. This is the paid Google ads, which people pay for their website to show up. They pay for specific pieces of content to show up at the top. But when they pay and they stop paying, that ad goes away. Then you have your organic search. This is where when you are building your website and you're creating blog posts or you're claiming your social media URLs and you're posting content, or maybe you're posting YouTube videos, this is where your information about your business is showing up organically. And then you have on the right there your Google My Business profile. So that's a free listing. A lot of times it's curated. So I should say it is curated. When you put your website online, typically you're going to submit it to Google to index, so it comes up in search. It also will create a Google business profile. Plus, you might not have claimed it. It came up on maps that somebody came to your business and someone may have left you a review. Your Google My Business profile as a business owner, it's something you want to make sure that you claim as your own and that you own it, because you have opportunity to update it with current information. It's something that's going to be helpful in this organic search results. You also might find those reviews. So people are leaving reviews of information, and it might be other online directories too. Do you remember, and I'm dating myself by saying this, but Yellow Book, right? We used to get the, the phone book delivered or dropped on our doorstep or dropped in the middle of our lawn. Well, those days are gone. However, there is Yellow Pages online, and there's other directories that can pull in for information in, and people can leave reviews there. Then you have Wikipedia that's going to, so there's a lot of different elements that go into helping your business show up organically. The big thing is knowing this is happening. And if you're not online and you're not kind of monitoring what's happening online, your prospects can't find you, or they're finding you and it's not accurate information. So being aware of kind of these online directories and how search works in Google is very important for you to understand and just have an idea, because it will make a difference in making sure that people can find you, number one, and then if they find you, that they are finding accurate information about you and your business. All right, so what I would encourage you to do is start thinking of searches of how people potentially might be searching for your business. So an example is cheese shops near me. So this is very dialed into local. So I will tell you, I live in a small town. The population is probably, I don't know, maybe it's up to 3,200. And I'm probably about 30 minutes from things. So this is always interesting to me, because honestly, it could make a difference where I sit in my house of what comes up near me. So if my office is in a separate building from, because I work from home, but my house is next door. So I'm kind of in another house. If I did a search of cheese shops near me here, it's going to pull in cheese shops in Connecticut, kind of behind me, because this is Connecticut. I live on the Connecticut-Rhode Island border. If I'm in my home and I do cheese shops near me, it pulls in Rhode Island. But this is what people are doing as they're doing searches. It also comes down to, on those directories or those businesses that are that come up, how they're putting their content in and how they're labeling their information and kind of that footprint of where they cover for their location. So the reason that I say put in your business, what you think people would search. So for me, it would be marketing. It might be marketing agency near me. I want to make sure that I am coming up within the 25-mile footprint. Are you showing up? Because if you're not, this is a clear sign that you need to do some work on your digital footprint. And if you are coming up, what are they finding? Are they finding a blog post? Are they finding, I can tell you that because I do a lot of training with Constant Contact, and I have, and I've done blog posts for them and things like that. A lot of times I'll find Constant Contacts, their link with my name on it before some of my own business stuff. So I'm always looking at, what are people seeing? The other thing that's really important about this, and this is something that I'd encourage you to put on your calendar even once a month, to just do some general searches about your business, because you want to make sure that there's not negative things being said about your business online. And if there is, that you're able to handle it and comment give reviews. I'm sure that you all are providing fantastic service and wowing customers all the time, but there is people that are spammers out there and you never know. So it's always good practice to do a search and see what people are clicking on and what's out there about you. And think about it from this perspective. Is it what they're looking for? That's the other thing. So when people are doing, so like we put in cheese shops near me, if you're putting in marketing agency near me and you do come up, is it really what they're looking for? Is there keywords? So like social media marketing, if I put in that because I help support businesses with that, or if I put email marketing services, am I coming up as a service provider for that topic? So you really want to take the time and do that. There also is other tools that can help you with that as well. The other thing too is by knowing what's being said, are you paying attention? So I mean that I recently worked with a client that, so this is something that's really important and I want to mention this. So when you set up your Google My Business, your social media, all of these online platforms outside of your website, you want to make sure that you are the admin on it. If you're paying somebody to set it up for you, you want to make sure that you are the super admin, that you have full control, and that you can then add somebody who can, so there's different levels behind the scenes. Then you can add somebody that can actually manage your content or update your profile for you, but they don't have full right access to kind of delete you off, delete your account. And the reason that I say this is because I recently worked with somebody that they had an employee that they loved, came to work for them, was like, I'm going to set up all these accounts. Well, what they did was they set up the Google My Business account, they set up the Facebook page, the LinkedIn, Instagram, and for 2 brands. So the company has kind of like the main brand and a division. And what happened is that person left. And guess what? Not everybody has access to that page. So the LinkedIn page is the most difficult to get back. They still don't have it back. The Instagram can't get it back. The Facebook page can't get it back at this point. And the Google My Business, it was a fight, but we were able to get it back. So you want to make sure that you have full control of your brand that way. And the reason that I'm saying this, because are you paying attention, is that if there is a review, you want to make sure that you're getting that notification and that you can manage that review. So for example, on that Google My Business page, they had 37 reviews. Most of them were fantastic, but they did have 2 that were like a 2 and a 1. And when you look at it, it's somebody that it's definitely not a real review. They didn't leave any context to it, but they couldn't reply to it or they couldn't even acknowledge it. So make sure that you have everything kind of on the behind the scenes, your ducks in a row, that you have control and full management over your stuff. If for some reason you're going right now, oh gosh, I don't, drop me an email and I can give you some direction on where you need to go to try to get things back. But the reason that you have access to all these is because, again, if somebody mentions you or they tag you on social media or they use a hashtag or they've left a review, you want to be able to reply and manage that. So your goal is to be found and start building those relationships. You want to go show up where people are looking. You want to make it easy for people to spread the word about you. So, but you also want to be able to manage that. And you also want to be able to provide accurate answers to questions. So if you don't have an idea of where your footprint is online, that is trouble for long-term success. Because you want to really kind of take the time, and it does take a little time, especially if somebody set it up, to get it back. But I promise you, it'll pay it forward as you have more control over your online footprint. And friends, feel free again to drop questions in the chat. So let's talk a little bit about setting yourself up for success. So you want a mobile responsive website. The good news is that mobile get-in that happened with Google penalizing websites long ago, most website builders, excuse me, and if you build a WordPress website, are mobile responsive. Email marketing is another tool that you're going to add to your tool chest, because email is the next step So when you talk about social media, it's not owned real estate. Then we're going to talk a little bit about social media, up-to-date business listings, and then easy ways to create your content. So let's talk about a mobile responsive website. Really, it is your online hub. It is your online business card. You want to make sure that you have the domain that works for your business. If you are in a local business and for some reason foralleyes.co is not available, you could add maybe CT if you're in Connecticut. You can be creative, but you want to make sure that it mirrors your brand of your business. You always want to be checking your website too. So as you're posting content or you're doing anything like that, you want to make sure that you post a blog post that you are looking at it on your mobile phone. Make sure you can navigate your website because it's all about the user experience. You want to make sure that if somebody comes to your website and they're on your services page, that they can easily get to the next step, and that is on mobile and on desktop. So, and kind of just going back to mobile responsive, when you'll know it's mobile responsive because when you are not on a mobile responsive website, you are literally taking your phone and you're kind of like scrolling in to try to dial in to read information. It's all about ease. And what's nice about mobile responsive websites, a lot of times you can edit them to have the primary services of what you want people to see. You can kind of line them up so it comes up and it looks super professional and it's easy to use. So mobile responsive is definitely a must. And I'm sure most of you have it. Like I said, it's very easy. If you use a website builder, it's kind of built in, but knowing that you can edit some of that, I think is also important. So you can make sure your primary information, your contact information, if you're promoting an event, so maybe you have a webinar coming up, you can actually move that so it's front and center. The other thing is email marketing. So we're going to kind of touch on social media here in a minute as we're talking about your online foundation. Email marketing is one of those tools that is going to generate revenue over time. When you think about your networking, when you think about how you touch your audience, a lot of times, your goal is as you're delivering content marketing on social media, on your blog, on your website, you're driving people back to your website. You really should be always thinking about how you can collect an email address. Why? Because when somebody adds their email, they've raised their hand and said, you know what, I'm interested in what you offer. I'm interested in that guide, or I'm interested in that 10% off. Now you have access to their inbox. Whereas if I post on social media, which is still a very relevant tool in your foundation, that not everybody's seeing it. So if you have 1,000 followers, maybe 10 are seeing that. And that really comes down to the engagement on your page. But you want to look, and I encourage you to go back after today, look at everywhere you touch your audience. So your website is going to be a place, your social media profiles, maybe your email signature. Ask for the email, ask for people to join your email list. And that's something where I also kind of, what comes next with a question like that is if you don't have a list, or my list is only 20 people, that's okay. People, it's not about the size of your list, your email list. It's about the the quality of your list. By delivering regular quality communication and staying in touch and fostering and nurturing those relationships, that's where email marketing is a huge, huge success in generating revenue for your business. Think about automating some things too. So automation takes a little bit of time on the setup. One of my favorite things for small business owners with Constant Contact, and I say this because I'm certified Keep consultant. I've worked in ActiveCampaign. I've worked in Entreport. I've worked in a lot of different marketing automation tools. But why, and I still do, so I should say that, but why my favorite tool is Constant Contact is because of how it works for small business. They have fantastic customer service. So if you're ever stuck, they have great templates and they make it super easy. Once you kind of get over the fear of, I don't understand this, or the fear of, I don't know how this works, what they do offer is some automation, marketing automation, email marketing automation. So basically, if somebody joins your email, you can start nurturing them from the get-go. This is something where you can, it's one of those things where they put in their email address. So maybe it's on your homepage and you have a pop-up and the form is connected to your constant contact account. First name and email address is all you need to set yourself up for success. You don't need more information because the goal is to kind of nurture and foster that relationship. You have a welcome email. This one is, hi, thanks for your interest. And now this could be, maybe you gave them you could also use a webhook where you're offering them a guide, or you're offering them a coupon. So in the welcome email, it just says hello. Basically, you're giving them what they signed up for. So if it's a guide, if it's joining your email newsletter, you're going to let them know how often you're communicating. And then you're going to follow it up with maybe 2, 3 emails timed out and tell them a little bit more about your business and your service. So it could be connecting with you on social media. It could be your blog. Or if you are creating something where it's a guide, you set up an automated series that's going to educate them a little bit more, kind of drive some of the messaging home on your guide. And it's something where it helps to just kind of immediately, somebody signed up, they got something from you, they're starting to learn about your business and where you connect with them. The other thing too is that you do want to consider sending at least an email once a month, if not more, to your audience, just to stay in that top of mind awareness. So they've signed up for something, they see your brand. Not all the time are they going to be seeing you on Facebook. Maybe they're your like ambassador, they're your top follower, and that's great. But again, emails to their inbox. So I would encourage you to start thinking about an email campaign that you could send once a month. It could be kind of a short message, and it could be a teaser to a blog post. It could be, you could add a service at the bottom. It could be a tip that you're offering. If you're offering products, you could highlight a product that you're doing. It also can have some personalization to it, where maybe, we're in spring. Maybe you are like, I don't want to say I'm an outdoorsman because I don't love to camp, but I love to walk in the woods. So maybe it's an adventure and you're sharing some photos of behind the scenes of your business. So, but what you're doing is you're staying in their inbox. And typically what you're going to do is you're going to plan a day that you're going to send it out, a time, and send it out the same time every month, or weekly or bi-weekly. Set yourself up for success. So if you're not using email marketing now, start with monthly. I'd encourage you to go to at least bi-weekly and then eventually weekly. And sometimes if you're having an event or promotion, it might be more. So email marketing should be at the top level of your website and email. Then you want to definitely be thinking about social media. Social media is one of those things where a lot of times people are like, there's so much. How can I do it all? You don't have to do it all, friends. You definitely want to claim your name on all the social channels, even if your audience is not there and you're not using it. Why? Because what happens is when you claim your space on, say, TikTok, for example. So I'm definitely not a TikToker, but I did claim my name there. Why? Because digital marketing and social media is very fluid. For right now, I know my audience is not on there, but that doesn't mean that might not change. The other thing is it's adding to my digital footprint. So what I did do was I put a short video pinned there that tells people where I am active. So I'm more active on LinkedIn. I'm more active on Facebook. I'm trying to work on my YouTube channel. So pick a channel where your audience is, but definitely claim all of those URLs. Plus it's branded. You never know how people are going to find you. They might just for whatever reason click on in their Google search on your TikTok channel, and then they can immediately know where to find you after that. I would encourage you to use a social media channel where your most of your audience is. Learn it. You learn how to use it and do it well. And the goal is always to be driving people back to your website. Remember, social media is rented real estate. We don't own that. Whereas your website, you own that. Your email list, you own that because they've given you permission to email them. So think about it, kind of social media is the I lost my thought on the analogy, but social media is a great tool and I encourage you to use it because it definitely is how you're helping get your brand out there, but understand about what the goal is. It's a delivery tool essentially. It's just like your email is a delivery tool back to your website. You want to give people enough to create some FOMO, so to speak, and drive them back to your website or your landing page of your service that you're offering. So, kind of match your approach to the social media channel. So, here's the thing you want to definitely look at types of content that is going to resonate with your audience. It's not something where you're using your personal profile for your business, although you can upgrade to professional on Facebook. But it's one of those things where you have to kind of separate the two. And you could marry them a little bit, but I would encourage you to know that you should be setting up business pages. Here's why. Business pages on social media create analytics. Analytics are important to help you to drive those good marketing decisions. So you're not spinning your wheels all the time of like, oh, is this working? Is this not working? So, it's a great place for professional networking. You have LinkedIn. Many of you came today from Alignable, which is a great tool. It's also very visual. You can tell your story with visuals, which is great. You can offer video, so it personalizes your brand. And then you definitely want to kind of think about modifying your social post per channel. So every channel has a little bit different audience. It has a little different character amount. It has a different opportunity of content for you to deliver. And you might have one piece of content where you wrote your blog post. So say you wrote a blog post about 12 great subject lines of email marketer, or 12 tips to great subject lines. So maybe that's my blog post, but then maybe I created a short video where I'm talking about my experience and I'm giving real world examples of things that have worked. So you can kind of take content and create more content from just one blog post, or you could take pieces of it and repurpose it with different visuals. So it might be, typically you want to keep it 4 to 7 words in a subject line. So that could be one piece of content that I could create from that blog post. But you want to definitely make it sure that it suits the audience that you're talking to. Definitely don't waste your time on social. Make sure that you're thinking about supporting your business. So your goal is bringing awareness. It's providing customer service. And that's also about action. You want people to take action on your social media. It's one of those things where I get a lot. Well, didn't you see that on Facebook? I posted that on Facebook. No, I'm actually, and years ago, I would say when it first came out, I was probably more dialed into what was going on Facebook, but I'm there for a reason. I'm there to help grow my business brand awareness, and support other businesses. Yes, I love to see all the family pictures, but my goal is really to focus on what I need to use it as a business tool. So, you just have to kind of monitor your time because you can go down a very, very big hole on social media. All right. We talked at the beginning about kind of those Google My Business listings. We talked a little bit about kind of the digital footprint. So you want to make sure that you definitely clean your Google My Business profile. And I will drop again a link in the chat here at the end. Also Yelp, any directory that you see where there's not information. So like Yellow Pages, if you are in a very specific niche, sometimes there's organizations. I'm not a partner. I'm not selling. I use a tool called Moz Local. If you're a local business, it's a great tool because I can update my Google business. I can post a blog post there and it will help me to update many online listings. And that's great in search. So it's Moz Local. Again, I'm not a partner, not trying to sell anything. It's pretty nominal fee for a small business owner to look at. And I do think it's a great tool. So the other thing too is you want to make sure that you're creating content. So it's one thing to have all these online tools, but you want to have a content plan in place, right? Because the more content that you create, the more consistent you are, it's definitely going to do a few things. It's going to validate your expertise and credibility in what you offer and what you sell and what you share. It's also going to it's going to pull in the people that are interested in what you offer. So, I also think it does a few things too. When you're creating content, you have your own personality, right? Every business has a personality. Every business owner has a personality. And the way you create content and post content kind of speaks to that. And so it also helps weed out a little bit of the clients that are not a good fit. I'm not sure if you heard that, but if you did, I'm sorry, that was my dog. But it helps weed out kind of the non-fitting potential clients. You want the audience that's going to resonate with your content and your ideas, but it's one of those things where you need to come up with a content plan of how often you're posting, what types of content you're posting on your channels as well. So at the end of the day, you can do all these things and put all these things into place, but how are you going to know it's working? Analytics, I mentioned it a little bit earlier, but analytics are going to be your best friend. So if you have your website, make sure that you have Google Analytics attached to your website and that you're checking in on it regularly, seeing where people are coming into your website. Google Analytics can track if it came from Facebook, if it came from YouTube. It also can tell you if you sent out an email campaign and what email campaign generated that traffic. You can see a lot of things, how often people sat on a page or not. Sometimes you have pages on your website that are not doing anything for you. The other thing, social media has content. Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, they all have analytics. And then your email has analytics. What I love the most about analytics is that it really does give me a better picture and an understanding of what is working and what's not working. And it's okay. There is going to be things that are not working. But by telling me it's not working by these numbers, it helps me to kind of rethink some ideas of how I'm presenting my content. So some things to consider. Are people visiting your website? Are they signing up for your emails? If they're not signing up for your email and you're putting out a pop-up, you're putting it on social media, go look at your call to action or go look at the content that you're offering them. If you're offering them a guide, are they reaching out to you? Are you getting messages? Are you getting emails? And are they buying or booking appointments? So the thing is, friends, you have to kind of look at the whole picture of your online footprint and look at how your customer journey is. So if you are on Facebook and you post content on Facebook, click on that link, see what happens, click on it on your mobile. Then if you have an email sign up, click on your email sign up, put your email, look at the customer journey and the customer experience. That also is a great way to tell you if things are working. It's also not a bad idea to ask a family or a friend, or a lot of us are as small business owners, we have this huge network on Alignable and LinkedIn. I have no doubt you have people that you can connect with to create a little bit of a community that you can help each other out and kind of, hey, take a look at this. Because I do think as business owners, some of us are solopreneurs, we kind of get stuck in like, oh, we think this way, we know this way, but we don't have a different perspective of really what is somebody searching for, kind of what words would they use, or I think this works great. I think this looks fantastic. I've been staring at it for 10 days trying to build it. But you might, as my friend, I say, hey, can you look at this? And they're like, oh, you missed this. There's a spelling error. There's a grammar error. So just keep that in mind, that you have resources, and you're welcome to connect with me on LinkedIn or Alignable. I'm happy to always check something out for you. So paid ads can definitely amplify your messaging on social channels, even in Google. It's one of those things where Google ads, depending upon your business, can be very expensive. If you are a nonprofit, I would encourage you to look at the nonprofit Google grants. There is a grant that they offer for nonprofits, which can be a great addition to your online footprint. Unfortunately, for-profit businesses, we don't get that. But I do know for nonprofits, it's a great tool. So, and then Facebook and Instagrams can be great because you can create lead ads where it's just collecting an email address. You can have it where if you get it in front of people for an event, you can do people that like your page outside of your page. You can dial in even deeper with ads of very targeted messaging to people that might be interested in what you offer. So Your goal is always to be useful to potential clients and customers, right? You want to make your website a resource, a guide. I did a website training probably about 2 months ago, and it was interesting because I've done them before, but I kind of did more different research on, and I used AI to help me a little bit to be in because it's a great tool. But it was interesting because in this class in particular, many of the students were focused on the homepage and not really understanding that the homepage is a guide to the side pages, right? The service pages. But even above that, a lot of times people don't come in on your homepage. So you want to make sure that your pages are set up to be resources, whether it be about your services, but there's some carrots there of how, how you're solving the problem. Also use your social channels, your online directories to drive people to your website. So if you have a Google My Business profile, did you know you can post your blog post there and it adds content to your Google profile? A great missed opportunity because it keeps your Google My Business fresh. It also is another driver from your Google My Business to your website because they're going to a blog post. Now they're on your website. Definitely look at all your channels that you can capture email addresses. This is something where I would encourage you to definitely all those touch points. Think about everywhere you touch a potential client or somebody comes in to your website, make sure there is an opportunity for them to raise their hand and sign up for your email list. So how it all comes together. So if you kind of take it from my little map here, obviously your goal at the end of the day is to increase that word of mouth marketing. Again, I mentioned at the beginning, I talked to a lot of small business owners that are referrals are the heart of my business. I don't need marketing. I do think that every business owner, even if you have the greatest referral engine, that you should always be marketing in some aspect. Delivering content. So if you're delivering a blog post or a piece of content that's a resource, that's marketing, friends. It's just people don't always recognize that you're marketing because you're sharing your expertise. You're not selling them something, but you are subliminally selling them something. So your goal is always to kind of be looking at, engaging, enticing your audience, sharing your experience, because at the end of the day, it's about that know, like, and trust factor. So the more they see you, the more likely they're going to be interested. If they're doing a search online, you want to make sure that all your ducks are in a row, that your content matches what you deliver as a business owner, and it helps drive the visibility overall. So taking a step back and looking at that online foundation is going to do a world of good. I would encourage you to do this frequently. And I say frequently, I know at the end of, so I don't know about everyone's business year, but typically at the end of the year. So in usually about November, December, I have the mindset I'm getting ready for the holidays, and kind of in my business, September is a busier month, September, October. But anyways, I try to do things at the end of the year. And then I try to just do some things quarterly to take a look back. But what I would encourage you to do is put an appointment on your calendar where it's something where you make that time out, carve out a few hours out of your day and keep that. That's an A appointment. That's an A client. That's an A client because that is what's going to help move the needle forward. You can take an honest look at what you're doing to see what's working, what's not working. So your goal is always to kind of increase that word of mouth. Definitely look at your mobile website, make sure it's working correctly, that it looks like you want it to. Also have a friend look at it. Make sure from a navigation perspective that it works well. Look at where you're going to capture email addresses. Within Constant Contact, you can do a pop-up, you can do a bar. So there's a lot of different things, pretty easy to use. You do not need to be a coder to do it. It's pretty simple. And the directions are pretty easy to use, which is why I love this for small business owners. Definitely look to create your email campaigns. So one of the things that I do more so than I've ever done is when I write blog posts, I try to write blog posts in chunks. So I'll write like 4, maybe even 6 at a time. I go through them, I put them on my website, I schedule them to go out. But what I do at that same time is I publish them for like half a second, and I get the URL, or I can copy and paste it from WordPress, and I create my emails. And so now what I do is I schedule ahead my emails. Now, what I will say is that there is times where I can go in and I'm like, oh, you know what? I'm going to have a webinar. I'm going to edit this email because I want to put this event in there. But I do try to schedule my events out too. But what's nice is I've created consistent content to my website, which Google loves, and my emails are going out, which is being consistent. And that's kind of slow and steady wins the race. It keeps my open rates higher too. So think about how you can intermix email into your everyday week of your business. Definitely be listening on social media, set up all those channels, but focus on one, get really good at it. Post your content, listen to what people are saying about you. There's so many social listening tools too, which are helpful for that. A social listening tool is, so if you're using a social media scheduler, and somebody mentions, you can actually set it up where if they're mentioning certain hashtags or name, you'll get a notification and you can reply to it. Definitely engage with those reviews, Google especially. What's nice is you also, there's widgets and tools that can build into your website that they basically, if somebody leaves a review, it shows on your website. And yes, you can control 4 and over. You say, I want 4 stars and over to show on your website. But the key point of that is you want to know what people are saying and you want to be able to respond because it's good customer service and it shows that somebody's home and that you're actively listening. You can definitely add content to your listings as well. And then think about advertising. You don't need huge advertising budgets to dabble or be successful in social media ads. Google ads are a little bit different because, again, it goes back to your industry. But I have run ads where an ad campaign, which is $200 or maybe it was $100 for certain businesses that had kind of an urgency campaign where it was a short window, and they've been very successful. You do have to learn to learn the platform. So I'd encourage you, there's a lot of great resources out there. The other thing too is that on all these platforms now they have the AI component, which adds element, which I will say that I used AI on a Facebook ad recently. I clicked off and it kind of takes in, it will put in an image in front of somebody that different images for different people. So it's kind of trying to talk to people and their what they're interested in. And that was pretty successful. So from a conversion standpoint, people signed up for the product. So social advertising can be a great tool. So kind of going back to those 5 steps. Number 1, ensure your business can be found online. You want to definitely do a search, look at all the links, test them. If you have directories or things that were created without your knowledge, pulling in from the algorithm of your website, go and claim that spot. Definitely when you're collecting email addresses, your goal is to stay in touch, set yourself up for success. Be very clear when they sign up, how often they're going to hear from you. Monthly, bi-weekly. If you're just starting with monthly, make sure it just says we send out a monthly newsletter and periodic events. So you're opening the door that they might get a little bit more communication once in a while. Definitely look to create a plan to generate repeat business. Engage with all of your interactions. That includes reviews, negative or positive. The only thing I will say negative, which I'm sure all of you know this, I would never engage in a conversation online. I would always try to take that conversation offline. So if somebody left you a negative review, I would encourage you to say, I'm sorry, fall on your sword, whatever is appropriate for that conversation. And we're going to reach out to you, or please reach out to us. It shows that you're handling it, but it's also showing you don't want to air your dirty laundry. You've all heard the horror stories, right? And then measure for success. Everything that you set up, make sure you understand how the analytics work, what they mean, what this one means. So what does impressions mean? What does click-through mean? What does segmentation mean in my email? How is this segmented? So definitely learn the analytics, because that at the end of the day, friends, is going to save you time and money and resources. Analytics drive great marketing decisions, even if it's not your favorite. But I promise you it could be, because it's one of my favorite. And understand that it can work. All this together can work. It's just finding the tools and kind of where you need to spread your time to make it be successful. It allows you to be There when people go looking. It also is an opportunity for you to provide answers to questions. And we didn't even get into it today, but you could talk about chatbots as well. Your goal is to engage and stay top of mind awareness. So that is for when people leave your website, they go to your social media, their email, you're branded, they understand that it's you that's reaching out to them. All right, my friends, here is the offer I mentioned at the top of the hour. Constant Contact offers a free trial. If you decide to sign up, you also have the opportunity where you can use this code 330P for 30% off for 3 months. And I encourage you to do so. It's one of my favorite tools. But again, there's a free trial. There's no credit card required, which is one of those things that I love. So please definitely take a look at Constant Contact. It could be a great tool. And if you're already using it, I'd love to hear how you're using it. All right, my friends, that is a wrap for today. Let's see if there's any questions. Again, my name is April Woodcock. I'm glad to, I appreciate your time today. I am going to drop my email in here if there's anything I can answer for you. And I'll go back to that QR code. I did drop the link in there, but any questions, please email me. All right, my friends, does anybody have any questions? I need to make sure I spell right here. Sorry. Okay. All right. New comments. Let's see. Oh, I'm so glad to hear that, Yvonne. Awesome, KR Scott. Love it. Much to think about. Yeah, and you're welcome to come back to the replay, or if you have a question, feel free to drop me an email at my email above. I'm happy to answer any questions you have. I think the big thing, friends, is one of the things that I can say the most is that as business owners, I think it's really important for you to understand and learn tools to what you want to learn them for. But so my example, I guess, should say, I work with a client that before he purchases anything, before he looks at anything or does something, he tries to really take the time and learn about that platform. So take the time and learn about Google My Business. Learn how it can help you. So like the Google Office stuff, like analytics can be overwhelming. You need it for your website, but maybe you start with Google My Business and you start updating that regularly. And maybe you come up with a plan on social media where it's 3 posts a week. But always remember, your website is going to be the hub of all the things that you do. And email is going to be the way for you to get into their inbox and not just posting and hoping that you're going to get an impression of people to see your content. So, but you've got this, and you're welcome to reach out to me. I appreciate all your time. I do a lot of twice a month of different Constant Contact partner webinars. You're welcome to join. I also do some live streams on just digital marketing topics. So I encourage you to follow along. It was great to see everybody today, and I hope you have a fantastic afternoon. I appreciate your time. Bye, friends.